Understanding and misunderstanding. You have one bad experience. You get an accident. You hurt yourself. You hurt someone else. You went out hunting and you by mistake you hit somebody in the arm. Whoa, who's to blame? Do you understand? Do you understand what you're doing? I mean, just on a simple level, Mars, you have sex with someone and you run into the great God, oops, and suddenly the person's pregnant. So you realize what you're doing. You went ahead without any protection, without plan, and all of a sudden there's a huge commitment ahead of you that you're going to be part of. So we're creating right and wrong understandings all the time. We do things right and wrong. But whenever we don't deal with things, if it's involving another kid, another person being born, or other things going up, or it affects that other person, perhaps as long as they live. And some of your karma and some of your misunderstanding is being perpetrated and still going on and not being atoned for. So, okay, it's a bit of a moral lesson, but even on a practical sense, exaggeration, too much of a thing. So Jupiter forces you to try and understand in a certain way, so like Mars is always like a shovel, shoveling up experience and shoveling it in. Like the moon's shoveling in food. Mars is getting experience. I've done this, I got to do this, I got to do that. And Jupiter is trying to digest it. Like the moon tries to digest food, Jupiter is trying to digest experiences and the implications of one bad word, one bad action, one good deed, one act of kindness. It's trying to assimilate everything that's happened to you. And as it's assimilating it, it gives a certain wisdom. I know this one on, I know that one. I've been there. I'm glad I got out of there. Or I've been there. I was lucky. That was really good. Like we all are assessing each other for who has the best understanding. Hopefully, our leaders are supposed to have the best understanding. Sometimes there's humor and joviality. You know, like Jupiter can make you laugh when you think of things like that. But technically, the people we follow should be wiser leaders. They should understand experience better. But if a leader understands that war is useful and everybody should go to it, whoa, you have one type of understanding running a country and people all living inside of it, developing their own understandings. So it's not that there's not a borderline of wisdom, like the old tale of King Solomon, the wise old king. Two women gave birth to a baby the same night. One of them, both had the baby, both there, and one's baby died. In the morning, both mothers were claiming the one baby who was alive was theirs. Big fight. So nobody could solve it. They brought the woman and the baby, the two women and the baby to Solomon. And Solomon picks up the baby, says, okay, give me the baby. Brings the baby up, grabs the baby by 1 foot, give me a sword, grabs the sword. He's just about to cut the baby in half. And just as about to cut the baby in half, the real mother says, no, don't kill my baby. It's okay. And that way, Solomon knew which one was the real mother. Well, that's cutting edge wisdom. Not to be suggested in every situation, but in that case, it was useful. So my point is there's a challenge to wherever Jupiter is. It's not a simple thing. There's a puzzle. You got a problem where Jupiter is of having too much, of exaggerating things, of distorting things, of misunderstanding things, of picking up wrong prejudices or wrong beliefs or overzealous beliefs and projecting that and assimilating your experiences against that background of those beliefs and judging everyone else and acting accordingly. So your wisdom is supposed to guide your action. Well, more often than not, we're doing our actions and our desires. We just use our wisdom to justify our desires. Justify whatever we're doing. Don't get in my way. I'm on a roll. Don't stop me. It's justified. Sometimes it's a wise justification. Sometimes it's a stupid justification. So, how many whys in our own lives, in terms of relationships, in terms of career, in terms of things we've done, have we done more wise justifications or more stupid justifications? I mean, just the reasons for finding a guy or finding a woman and justifying why you're going to be together. We slept together, now we got to be together. We should move in together. We should get married. We should do all these things. And we build this whole expectations and have our understanding around it. It should be like this. And we can have that understanding without even considering what the other person wants. So some people's understanding will be more aware of other people, some people's less. But wherever we're going to have the good understanding, we're going to have, for every moment of wisdom or clarity, there's going to be years of not exact clarity, of not exact wisdom, of not exact understanding, and then having to realize the repercussions of what we've done and how to change our directions or how to grow or make it better or correct things, how to atone for the things we've done. Whoa. If somebody, do you believe in reincarnation? Not reincarnation, it's just this lifetime and then that's off, you're out of it. Well, if somebody kills 100 people in this lifetime, how many lifetimes do you think they'll have to have and come back and be killed in before those 100 deaths are atoned for? Ooh. If 5 boys rape and kill one girl, yeah, one person went out in a horrible situation, paid off some horrible karma. At the same time, you have 5 souls. They're going to have to come back and be reborn as women and get violently raped before that cycle of wisdom is completed. So we're responsible for everything we do. Everything we do is going to come back at us. Everything we don't do, everything we avoid doing, these are all parts of, was it wise or wasn't it wise? It's a really puzzle. Jupiter's always a puzzle, but boy, you have to always be worried. It's just the right understanding, it's the wrong understanding. How do you assimilate things? You're hopefully trying to assimilate things better than worse. It's much better to have a job and be making some of your own money than just hanging around the streets with a gang and getting in mischief. But depending on what job it is, it may not be the best thing for you. Other people may know, you may not listen. You may hear what they're saying, but you may not understand them. You're pumped with their own understanding. Sometimes we're lucky enough to have teachers that guide us. There's a good Jupiter. Jupiter in India, the word is named Guru. The word for Jupiter is Guru, meaning teacher. It's how we learn from life. Sometimes a teacher will guide us. Really, we have to be our own teachers. Whew. Not many good books on, I mean, you read books on Jupiter, you get little ideas, little insights, you see how people have taken it this way or that way. And, but a lot of very knowledgeable concepts, mental concepts about Jupiter, but not necessarily that much thought out experiential perspectives. So what's going to guide an angry 2-year-old kid or a weak 2-year-old kid that isn't strong enough to stand up? What's going to drive an aggressive, hormonal 15-year-old, male or female? What kind of understanding would a poor health, weak 15-year-old have compared to the aggressive one? Could they be in the same places? What's fair? It's a big thing to take on, just understanding, to just comprehension, to have our own wisdom, to have our own conscience of what's right and what's wrong, and to have our own judgments. But whenever somebody is lucky enough to have some good ideas and good understanding about experience, they realize you can do this, we make this happen like this, they're usually followed. They usually get followers because they're having a better idea and a better insight than other people. I mean, in the body, Jupiter's Guess it goes to the liver, trying to process all the water, or trying to get rid of stuff out of the water. Because Venus, I think, is the kidneys. Now, I don't work so much with the physical side of it. You can, but it takes a lot of research to work on it, and you get a lot of charts to see how it works in different situations. I see it gets down to physical when you haven't dealt with it mentally or haven't dealt with it emotionally. When you haven't integrated it, normally this is a healthy planet, and we have some good understandings and some bad understandings, a sense of what's right and wrong. You know, what's fortunate, what's not fortunate. Wow, I knew someone, I met someone, they had a connection to a job, or I got tickets to this show. Wow, how lucky is that? You know, timing is Saturn, but understanding it is Jupiter. So Jupiter sits between the desire for experience and the Mars pushing to get experience. Every day, our muscles, our aggression are pushing things, or lack of it. And it's understanding what we have to do. Okay, that's one side of Jupiter. But if there's no brakes on it, you can do things that you can get beyond what you're capable of doing. Like someone coaching a team that isn't good enough to coach a team. Or what was it today, just a few days? Oh yeah, the woman who didn't know how to ski or skate very well was able to go through all the things and get through Hungary or something, get through all the tests and get enough points to get into the Olympics, and was competing with the Olympics. Came last, she wasn't good enough to be there, but there were no breaks. She figured out a way of how to get around it, how to get around the system. So a lot of Jupiter's how to get around the system, how to get around Saturn, but really it should be how to align with Saturn. Jupiter really needs to see, if you're going to go do something, you could do anything, but boy, it would be wiser to be prepared in advance. The preparation, the self-discipline, that's Saturn. The wisdom to impose some disciplines or some restraint on your actions, that's Jupiter. The lack of wisdom to not accept that, that's Jupiter. Okay. So generally, you look for where Jupiter is, you look for the trouble, the excessive troubles you've got into, and you're trying to see how you're trying to figure out what happened, how to make it better, how to understand it, how to get a better perspective on it. Or you're convinced that your perspective is the best. So as we come to the outer planets, in some ways we see them clearly, but they have huge implications. It's hard to get just to be able to explain it in a sentence. You get glimpses. This is where words are the lowest form of astrology. When you come to understand the being of each planet, or that each planet is, or the energy it represents, the dimension of level of consciousness it represents, and you tune into it, and then you begin to see how to use it good or not well. Wow, that takes some experiences to get that level to see that. Usually by the time we have the wisdom, we're too old to get into all the trouble anymore. But that doesn't mean that all old people are wise. There's a lot of old fools out there too. This balance. The Star of Bethlehem, when Jesus was born, it was supposed to be a conjunction of Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn in the sky. On a chart, they would have looked like in the same degree, right on top of each other, and you say, wow, that's incredible. For an astrologer in those days would say, well, anyone born then would be the king of kings. They would be wise, they would be intelligent, they have a sense of resilience, they'd have all these things integrated together. That person would be a real leader, whoever is born under that.